A&Pers, this is Dr. Jones checking in. This is A&P 1, Lab 1, Video 8. I thought we were finished with the previous video, but I forgot the skin model. Okay, so here we are with the skin model. And we need to know some of the layers of the skin. So this first layer, this is the surface of the skin. These are the hairs. So this top layer from here to here is epidermis, and this is also epidermis. So you have two different types of skin. You have thin skin and you have thick skin. You have thin skin over most of your body. It has 4 layers of keratinocytes, keratinocytes, and it covers the majority of your body. The thick skin covers the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. It has a 5th layer, which will be this layer right here, and the top layer is thicker, which is a little Caucasian colored part in this, which is thicker than it is in thin skin. So of the layers of the epidermis, we're learning the top layer and the bottom layer. Again, the epidermis can have 4 layers in thin skin. It can have 5 layers if it's thick skin. Either way, the top layer is the stratum corneum, and cornu means horn. Like a cornucopia is a horn of plenty. So this top layer of your epidermis is literally called the stratum corneum, stratum meaning layer, corneum meaning horny. So the visible surface of your skin is Latin for horny layer, stratum corneum. Now, of the epidermis, major layer epidermis, the bottom layer of the epidermis, I'm gonna zoom in, there we go. See this kind of darker purple layer at the very bottom of the purple? That single layer of cells there is called the stratum basale. Used to be called the stratum germinativum. Either way works. Basale means base, and it is the base of the epidermis. And germinativum also works because these are germinative cells. These are mitotic cells. These are the stem cells that make your skin, make your epidermis. So if you're anywhere close to my color and you spend an hour outside at noon in the summer, I'm in Texas, so it happens, and then a couple of days later your shoulders fall off, how they grow back is this right here, this layer of mitotic cells, the stratum basale or stratum germinativum. And those are stem cells. They keep dividing, and as they divide, the cells push up, and that's how you make new skin after a sunburn. Okay, there are other layers in the epidermis that we are not learning. The next major layer here, zoom back out, is the dermis. So epidermis, dermis, and the dermis has 2 layers. These bumps, these little fingers here, are called dermal papilla, like an egg crate. And the dermal papilla, including all the blood vessels, is the papillary layer. Deep to that, the rest of the dermis is the reticular layer. So this whole part, dermis, specific layer, dermal papilla, papillary layer, specific layer, reticular layer. And deep to that is the hypodermis, which has a couple of different names. The hypodermis, also called the subcutaneous layer. The cutaneous layer is the epidermis and the dermis of the skin, also called the superficial fascia, but that's for lecture. There are structures in here that we need to know for lab. So the hair shaft are the visible hairs superficial to the surface of the skin. The hair root is the part deep in the skin, although hair root's not on our specific lab list. The cells that surround the hair root are. And the cells that surround the hair root are called the hair follicle. So these cells around the hair root, here and here, are the hair follicle. On most hair follicles are a set, usually on hair follicles, are sebaceous glands. I think they're purple. Some people call them gray. Purple gray? Gray purple? Anyway, they're kind of shaped like grapes, and they make sebum. Sebum is your skin oil or scalp oil. So you know that whole like T-zone thing? That's sebaceous glands. And then these coily bits are sweat glands. And here's a different type of sweat gland. We're not learning the different types of sweat glands today. And these are also sweat glands, sweat glands, sweat glands. So it shows the two different types, but for my purposes for today, oh look, they're sweat glands. Let's see, let's go through the list. Epidermis, stratum basale, stratum corneum, hair follicle, hair shaft, sebaceous gland, erector pili muscle. This is smooth muscle that contracts to give you goosebumps. So when you're cold or scared, this smooth muscle contracts. When a muscle contracts, it gets shorter, and that will pull the hair, make the hair stand straight up on end. So that has very little function in humans. In other mammals, and humans are mammals, I mean, we're animals and we're mammals because, you know, hair, fur. In other mammals, the extra, making your hair stick straight out gives an extra air layer, which makes you warmer. So it adds insulation. And if you've got body fur, then making it all stand straight on end makes you look bigger and scarier. And so that's why you get goosebumps when you're cold or scared. Although it doesn't do much for us. Erector pili muscle, dermis, papillary layer, reticular layer, sweat glands, and epidermis. For A&P 2 at the beginning, we'll come back and cover these two sensory structures. But for now, these are the layers of the skin model. And this concludes A&P 1 Lab 1 with video 8. Thank you as always for tuning in. The education must go on. Dr. J out.